Hello everyone, this is the Educated Conservative here, and I just wanted to make a quick update about the video that I did yesterday called Title IX Tyranny. So, of course, more details came out about the case, and essentially the preponderance of evidence that the government set forth, that standard, it was actually completely violated. So essentially, the woman who everybody thought was raped, or not everybody, but the Title IX idiots in this university, she said that she was not raped. Now, what is so surprising is that despite this, he got expelled. Anyway, now, yes, it was called a suspension, but essentially he was suspended for 2 years, which is just absurd. That's essentially an expulsion. A suspension would be for about a semester. He's going to be behind in his academics because of this. I'm sure that there will be another college that allows him to enroll just because of his extenuating circumstances. But this is simply absurd. So essentially, this was a bit more than a hookup. It appears that these two were actually going to enter a relationship. Throughout this whole process, she was actually contacting Grant Neal. So I'm not gonna dwell on this too much longer. It was just more absurd than I initially thought it was. I thought it was one of those, oh, well, essentially a third party reported, a rape, and the guy didn't rape anybody, but, he still got expelled. No, it was a third party reported the rape, and the first party said, hey, I wasn't raped, and he was still essentially expelled from the university. So it just goes to show how absurd this is. Now, I also want to discuss something else. There is an online petition to stop due process just in general when it comes to rape cases. Oh, you think so? There is a petition for the White House to the Obama administration: do not allow the government to determine if a person was raped. Now, this is absolutely unbelievable. So essentially, their premises for this argument is that, well, rape victims are shamed. And this is true in a few cases, in a select few cases. And it is a pity. But they think that the obvious response to prevent rape victims from being ashamed is to assume that the rape victim is telling the truth, to not even bother collecting evidence. It's oh, well, you said that this person raped you, well, we're not even going to investigate it, let's just lock him up. That is absolutely absurd. I mean, now, I am not sure whether any of you are familiar with the 2006 Duke lacrosse team, but essentially what happened is that a woman, an African-American woman, essentially accused 3 of the players of raping her. And essentially this was a huge issue. People were telling, the Duke players to come forward. There was an article that said, Duke lacrosse team, and we know. Essentially, all of these men were accused of covering up a rape. And it did not occur. The woman was lying. She later went to prison for, I think she killed her boyfriend or something, or she killed someone. I don't know. I'll look that up. This is covered. There's a great 30 for 30 documentary called Magnificent Lies, which, if you're interested in this, it really goes into it. It talks about how, if for the first half of the video, these players were assumed to be guilty, and it was essentially used as a platform for carrying out social justice. Essentially, this African-American woman was sexually assaulted, and she needed justice, and a whole bunch of rights groups, African-American rights, and and women's rights, they piggyback on this case, and it turned out to be completely false. So it's one thing to stop victim shaming due to lack of evidence. It is another thing to assume guilt due to lack of evidence. Another possibility, which this petition doesn't even mention, is suppose if a woman was raped, but she identified the wrong man, and this is actually happens in quite a few cases. Witness testimony is extremely unreliable, and I learned this working for the Boulder Sheriff's Department. But sorry, I was a cadet there. But essentially, this is not the answer. So I'm going to run through this petition really quickly. If you've paid any attention on the media recently, you know several cases of rape have been dismissed for lack of evidence. Well, yes, that's a good reason to dismiss a case. It's a pity when actual rapists get away, but many of the times there's just simply not enough evidence to convict somebody beyond a reasonable doubt, and they're going to be spending their lives in prison, so there needs to be a certain amount of evidence. One of the most well-known being Kesha Sherbert versus her producer, Dr. Luke. On Wednesday, April 6, 2016, a judge denied Mrs. Shebert's claim and do you not know how to use grammar? Denied Mrs. Sherbert's claim and disgustingly stated every rape case is not a gender-motivated hate crime. Well, that is true. There are other motives behind sexual assault. Not everyone is going to be a hate crime. It is a crime. It is a crime in itself, but it is not what is defined as a hate crime. Now, I personally believe that any assault case involves hate, but that is not how the government interprets it. So be it. A Spain rape victim was asked by the judge if she tried closing her legs. Okay, that's a bit egregious, but I kind of want to see the whole case about that. So let's see. Let's take a look into that case. And essentially, the judge has come under fire for doing this. Now, this is just beyond ridiculous. They're trying to use a case that happened in Spain for justifying eliminating due process in the United States. And that is absolutely absurd. First of all, they're two different countries, and second of all, it doesn't seem to be an indictment against the U.S. system. It just seems to be an indictment against a certain judge. So why they would use that as an example to petition the U.S. government, given that it was in Spain, is absolutely beyond me. So the conclusion of this petition is, let's change this case so we can change the nation, and then, hopefully, the world. Let's not just save Kesha, let's save rape victims everywhere. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I just showed not one but two cases where a total of 4 men were accused of a crime that they did not commit, and one got penalized. The 3 Duke players nearly did. And here we have these rabid SJWs essentially saying, let's just assume they're guilty. Why? Because males are a privileged class and females are an oppressed class. So why would females ever lie? They would clearly never lie because they are the oppressed. They are the underdogs. I mean, hopefully you realize how not only ridiculous this is, but how dangerous this thought process is. Because we cannot presume guilt in any case. So I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe even learned a few things. I certainly did in the process of making them. I'll post the 2 sources below, the link for that article and then the other link for the petition, just so you guys can see them yourselves and see that they're real. But it's just absolutely absurd. in what do you call it? In essentially the video explaining my mission statement. These are the reasons why I created this channel. It was to address these dangerous ideologies that if they do pass, if the government starts adopting them, they already have with that Title IX corollary, the Dear Colleague letter. If they do adopt these, we will start losing our rights we already have. I mean, on this college campus that I am recording this video from, I have limited free speech. I'm quite worried about, if people do find out that I am making these videos, it's, oh, you're a conservative, so you're obviously a racist. It's not, oh, well, you believe in preserving free speech and your amendments. That's not the first thing that comes to mind. So these ideologies, they're very, very dangerous. And I actually think I'm going to make a video series on cancerous ideologies, but that's kind of going to be in the future, though. So I hope you guys have liked the video, appreciated this update. It's I mean, I know I'm kind of stuttering here. It's just sometimes I can't believe the stuff that I read. Have a good day, everyone.